So we go from maybe the worst like couple weeks in existence over the past year to everybody's like, you know what? Maybe we called a bottom too early. Now that's specifically talking about the crypto side of things, but if you noticed, everything in the collectibles landscape has been red hot, especially things around Pokemon. Welcome to another edition of XFeed. What's up? My name is The Schiller. We talk about Web3, collectibles, everything else under the sun, in traditionally about 30 minutes. So if you enjoy that sort of content, maybe share it with a friend, because that's how we are going to make the channel grow. Let's get into the topics of the day. Someone shared some of their favorite cards within their collection, and I'm going to keep it like 100. I didn't even realize that Harry Potter had trading cards, and then we have The Walking Dead. I was a huge Walking Dead fan. I've still not gotten through the last few seasons of it. I think I watched like the absolute finale when it was on TV. I didn't understand a single thing. Obviously, it kind of fell off a cliff, but the earlier seasons, absolute perfection. But Toy Story, Star Wars, and a couple of other things. Just kind of cool to see some of the collectibles that are out there. Helium Mobile. This was something that is connected to the Web3 landscape. And depending on where you are, did you know that you can get affordable phone plans for as low as $30? Certain parts of the world, phone plans are like $100. And so if somebody is offering something for $30, I don't know. I feel like the adoption around that is going to happen rather quickly. So we got to keep an eye on it. But speaking of adoption, Harvard increases their Bitcoin exposure by 237%. This is the other day, but they now hold $442.8 million in Bitcoin ETF. So are you on the side of Harvard's making a good decision, or Harvard is making a bad decision amongst the time when the fear and greed index is at 10, which is extreme fear? I'm going to assume today it's been up a little bit, but every single day, check out the timeline, people are just absolutely losing it. But today, it's not been too shabby. Speaking of things that I didn't realize were a thing, right? Like the Walking Dead trading card. I didn't know Stranger Things had a TCG. Listen, we might have to go out and buy a box. I don't even know where you get them, but big fan of Stranger Things as well. 26th, which is in, about 10-ish days, well, 7, 8-ish. Excited to see him. Wrecked. We went over their absolute unfortunate situation where their token basically went to zero and then shot back up again because people were extremely leveraged on that front. But they also made an announcement that they were partnering with Manners, which is a golf brand. Have to admit, I'm not super familiar, but Manners is a golf brand exploring a new frontier for the game and the culture, one guided by the sports past that progresses with the people who play it. Still feels like we just don't have anyone in the Web3 landscape that's really all about like clothing on that front, right? Like we had the 9DCC. I feel like we've had different collections like Bored Apes, Doodles do the different merch drops that's off of their brand, but is there a brand that's far and away the Web3 clothing brand? Absolutely not. So who's going to take that front? Is it going to be Wrecked? Just partner with a whole bunch of people? Maybe. Don't fade trading cards, says the founder of Azuki and Collectibles. It's becoming more of a status symbol and flex to own coveted pieces. We're even seeing premium stores open up reminiscent of luxury fashion stores. So Canon Collectibles is the photo here. And in the back, they have graded Hulk. That looks like the Incredible Hulk first edition. Have you guys ever, what's now customs? Holy smokes, long time no see. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for coming through. That made my day. Hell yeah. Dude, I honestly love when we see people come through that I haven't seen in forever. Absolutely the best. Gutter Cats had the best merch. What the hell is going on with Gutter Cats? So Gutter Cats, we'll derail this for a second here, because this is absolutely worth it. But Gutter Cat Gang was a collection in Web3 that had, look, they're even doing physical collectibles. Maybe we got to do an interview with them. But the Gutter Shop. So this was like a collection of 3,000 cats. They've gone through multiple variants of owners. They've done parties in Vegas. This is sort of what the collection looked like. This was around the time when like Bored Apes came out, a little bit after. but I don't really know like what to think of the collection. It feels like we just don't have a direction or voices that are kind of leading it anymore. And I don't know. I don't know why. So if you've seen anything new from Gutter Cats, let me know what now. But again, phenomenal to see you. But for the Incredible Hulk, I actually got the Marvel Unlimited at a point. I might actually re-download it. It was quite fun reading. I'm so bad at sitting and reading like a full length book, but I bought some of the One Piece manga, like graphic novels. And a while ago, I did do the Marvel Unlimited where you got like all of the comic books and you were able to read the ones back when Incredible Hulk was made back in like, I don't know, when the hell was it? Like the 1960s, 80s, whenever it was. And it was like, you know, this is actually a pretty good read. And then they have a whole bunch of different slabs within it. But something to note, and why we're covering collectibles as well, is it's becoming much, much bigger of a industry. The Dubai government begins piloting crypto payments for select public services, enabling users to pay fees using digital assets such as ETH. And I feel there was something, maybe it was in Michigan or Detroit specifically. I think it was Michigan as a whole last year. It's giving me a little bit of a reminder right now where they said you could pay your taxes with Bitcoin. Now, maybe that was something in Vancouver, but Michigan and Vancouver are two things that are sparking in my mind. But I feel like the thing about Vancouver was something that was about Bitcoin, but not that explicitly. But they were trying to put forward some bill. But anyway, we continue to see positive news fronts in that fashion. What we haven't heard about in a minute is the Telegram stickers. Remember, Moonbirds, Bored Ape Yacht Club, Cyberkongs, everyone was doing Telegram stickers, and almost all of them ended up being a crazy flip if you ended up being able to buy them. But Allo's saying they spent $5,200 on the rarest gift on Telegram. And I'm going to assume these are like the stickers, but it's a pin. And for Telegram, I guess their currency is the stars. So 355 stars apparently equals 5,200. But why don't we hear anything about the Telegram stickers anymore? The great wealth transfer is north of 100 trillion over the next decade. You are not bullish enough. Have a great Sunday. Well, today is Tuesday, so we have to clarify because that was posted on Sunday. But I've continually seen this mention almost every other day at this point. Why? Well, is it happening soon? Is it, we're trying to have a little bit of hopium? Roar, what's up? How are we doing? Peckham, hello. We got the crew coming through. Good to see you. But Vlad Tenev, CEO of Robinhood, right? We watched the clip the other day of him saying that. The father and son duo that I recently had on the RWA SegMints podcast, it was Always Legit, which is a sneaker collection. I don't know if we call it like an investment fund. That's partially what they're doing, but they've gotten really heavy into the sneaker game. And that was one of the first things that Jason mentioned, who is the younger son, was about that wealth transfer and the fact that, younger people, they want to go for culture and things. And so sneakers are a part of that. And, one of the rationales that we'll say is, hey, for these collectibles, for crypto, for things that younger people just desire and admire, all of us read the headlines all the time of like, okay, yeah, like we're probably going to end up like renting forever, right? So if you have that in your mind and you're not saving up for like a property or whatever, and you have extra disposable income, well, what are they going to blow it on? Well, maybe we got some slabs of Digimon cards. You know what I mean? You never know. I don't know if I should say how we are doing. Okay. Well, Roar, hopefully it's not too bad. Good sir. So question for you, and this is going to be different for wherever you are geographically in the world. So for minor sports, and I mean like when you're like a toddler or a kid, like first 2-3 years, whatever, of playing sports. Traditionally, there is a company that sponsors those events, right? And so like Timbits was one that I think like for Tim Hortons, they did like Timbits hockey, Timbits soccer, whatever. And it was like it was a staple across the community, right? And so wherever you are in the world, there's probably some company that had that, or maybe you were a part of a league where that never existed, or maybe you just never played sports, and that's totally fine. But I'm trying to put together a little bit of a narrative here because I seen this from MetaMask, and they've been highlighting or showing we're doing stuff within soccer. And there was these clips of, I guess, like a random group of people. I don't really know. Ubong, crypto video content creator. We saw VGF in Argentina, but let's say that MetaMask is leaning into the soccer sort of deal. What if they go around the world, and I don't know how expensive it is, but let's assume that it's not unearthly to sponsor like children's sports. Now, MetaMask is not the right like brand, right? Like, hey, you know, for your 4-year-old, let me teach them about crypto wallets. But what if for some of like those older teams and whatnot, or different parts of like the world where MetaMask just becomes like a household brand name, right? From sponsoring these events, if they're really, really leaning into soccer. Because I see something like this and it's like, is this going to be a one-off? Is this going to be something that they're going to really, really push? Are we going to see other companies that try to do that, right? Like how aggressive do we get around this? Because the other day we had somebody that made a comment of, you know, the crypto wallets of the world are going to overtake basically everything else. So if that's the case, if they have the funding, if they have the reach, what are the lengths they're going to go to just have a massive, massive PR campaign around the world? Roar, there's something I don't understand. I read a timeline brand saying they're paying players crypto for playing games will only if cents count, because that is not happening at all. I mean, I think that like there's a difference between play to earn games and then creators getting like some sort of sponsorship directly from the games themselves. Because yeah, I would say there's probably not like too many play to earn games where like them actually playing is making a ton. But if there is some kind of, you know, stipend, a little bit of some sugar going over from the major companies, well, that could be the case. So I made a promise, or at least I said, hey, you know what, on these streams, we're going to try to do a little bit of research where we can, just highlight something that's, you know, kind of interesting. The other day, we saw the Pudgy Penguin AI assistant that you would tell it things. It would go to your phone. It would schedule whatever. It would do all these crazy, crazy things. So the one that we're looking at today is Serge, who recently had a different change of CEO. Tokenizing startups, democratizing finance. Be the first to invest into the best. That rhyme feels like that sort of rhymed. Every website we're noticing has this like circular loading. Okay. So you can apply now. I don't know if I want to read all the docs. Surge ignites an era of finance built on universal basic ownership, bridging the gap between Web 2 companies and Web 3 investors. Do we think at any point we drop like just the Web 3 conversation and it becomes the norm, sort of like Web 2 has been the norm, and now we include Web 3? What if any builder could have an easy way to scale? I'm sorry, this is in your face. What if any investor could be the first to the next big thing? You know, Roar's always keeping an eye out. Surge unlocks a direct pathway to decentralized capital markets for innovative tech and AI startups by granting an equal early investment opportunity for all. Reigniting entrepreneurship. Okay. Coming soon. Listen, all right, we tried to do research, and then it was just something that said coming soon. My goodness. Yesterday, we went over this as well, the Bad Buns collection. This is something to do with Mega ETH, I believe. And if you look on this, sorry, it doesn't show the right way, but it shows that it's on the base chain. Well, this collection, I think, was just straight up on Ethereum. And this was what OpenSea swept and paid like 4 ETH for to add to the rewards pool that was a fake scammy collection. Have you heard of the Hockeyverse? I know you guys know the whole Chillerverse. You know what I'm saying? But have you ever heard of Hockeyverse? So I came across this in my timeline, and this was, I think this post was from a while ago. Yeah, the 17th. But what they've started to do is recreate games in like a video game essence. And I don't know if I want to jump off a bridge or if I'm just like too old to appreciate it. Because like, this is an example, right? You can see like the play happening up here. But it's like the kids, whatever, from back in the day for the baseball. And like, they literally replay games with the characters like playing in a metaverse video game experience. I don't know. Not horrible, but I can't say that I absolutely love it. But maybe I'm just a little bit older. So this is a great post and something that we highlight relatively often, but let's read it just to highlight, because you can say something to somebody and are they going to understand or appreciate it? Probably not, until somebody else reinforces it. And then you have, the points of confirmation, similar like a blockchain, to send a transaction, you need X points of confirmations. It's very similar to that for the average person. So scam risk warning. Recently, online scams have become more serious. Scammers may use high returns, free gifts, online part-time jobs, and low-price commodities as bait to attract you to transfer funds to their fraudulent addresses and fake trading platform in order to gain your trust. Scammers may also pretend to be customer service, financial advisors, etc. To further prove their project's authenticity, they may allow you to withdraw successfully with a small amount initially, but once you transfer a large sum of funds, you may find yourself unable to withdraw anymore. Besides, scammers may ask you to pay audit fees or taxes before withdrawals can be made. If you encounter the above situation, please terminate all transactions. Now, this is for anybody that's got emails, you got your DMs open, whatever. I've had craziest messages that, you just know. I didn't sign up for that job. I didn't do any transfer. I don't even have an account on a certain exchange, but it's telling me, oh, you got some warning. You got to go check this out. So be extraordinarily vigilant while possible, please, and thank you. Pokemon Go is expected to make around $4 million this weekend. This month alone, Pokemon Go is expected to make 25 to 30 million. People will spend money playing a game just for fun. Crypto Twitter needs to learn you can play games just for fun without expecting rewards. Very true, but at the same time, the way that Pokemon Go, remember how viral Pokemon Go was at a point, and it's still kicking around, and I think the IP around Pokemon is absolutely brilliant. But imagine if they actually had a world where all of these could be tradable in between and that they got a fee as part of it. Because right now, somebody goes, you buy the Pokeballs. I guess I have to explain this because if you never played Pokemon Go, but the idea is you go and you walk around, right? So this is great if you're trying to get outside of the house. You'll walk around and different parts of wherever. There's certain parks where you can go, and it's like a geographical thing where you can spin and you will get free Pokeballs to be able to catch these wild Pokemon, or you can end up paying for it. But then once you have all of these Pokemon, you end up having to sell them for room within your bag, or you can pay to get more space within your character's or your account's bag. But what if you could trade with other players and there was some kind of monetary aspect of somebody across the world was able to get, a super rare Pokemon that was exclusive to a point? Well, there's no way to do that unless you sell the account, you're able to trade with somebody. But what if you could buy that even for $5 to $10 and there was a fee that Pokemon took from it? And that's where I think a lot of these brands are going to open up to the aspect of changing their marketplace. Maybe it's not on blockchain rails, right? Maybe it's just simply within their own ecosystems and they open up trading, and then a lot of the conversations around Web3 kind of get tossed out the window. But it's something that at one point, remember not too long ago when there was the report that a company that was associated through a backdoor that was connected to Pokemon filed for doing something on the Sui blockchain, and everybody went, oh my God, Pokemon is coming to the Sui blockchain. And then Sui went bam, and then nobody ever talked about that again. True. All right, here's some insights regarding Bitcoin.
And Scott, last question. Do you see this as potentially part of a larger shift? Might we next see crypto-backed car loans or crypto-backed business loans or margin lines?
We absolutely will. And there's already crypto native companies that are doing all of these things. There's already Bitcoin backed loans that you can get on all of these assets. The thing is that it's just becoming mainstream now. But as I said, when you have announcements from the largest institutions on the planet, Citibank is about to get ready to custody these assets. Morgan Stanley just opened their platform to Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto trading, and all the ones that I rattled off before. This is just going to become the norm because this asset class has become mainstream. So yes, I think that as led by MicroStrategy and others and Michael Saylor, we're going to see a full suite of financial services and opportunities surrounding Bitcoin and crypto that we see for everything else.
So amongst all of this, right, I've never really taken a very strong position on anything because we just talk about the industry and stuff we find for fun, right? But realistically, before we had kind of the cascade over the last couple of weeks, almost every stream we're talking about the wildest, most arguably bullish things that could happen within the crypto space amongst these massive liquidations. And then seeing the fact of like what happened with Rect, and then seeing, the bigger cascade and people saying, oh yeah, a market maker blew up or this, that, and the other thing. It's like, once price corrects a little bit, everybody's like, oh, yeah, right. I forgot there's all these potential catalysts. And obviously, we have no idea where the prices are going to go for things, but it does seem like the industry as a whole, there's a lot of stuff going on. So kind of funny here where during the Grey Cup, the Prime Minister of Canada ended up getting like booed pretty hard, but that's not like the funny part here. The only reason I'm bringing this up is Coinbase, I guess, was like a major sponsor of this. So they got like their PR, but like not necessarily in the way they wanted.
Joining the team captains is the Prime Minister of Canada, le Premier Ministre du Canada, Mark Carney, and the CEO of Coinbase Canada, Lucas Matheson.
And that guy's like, oh crap, why the hell did I get picked to go on this? And now he's all over the news. But the Coinbase Canada lead out there, and interesting PR opportunity. Speaking of public relations, you guys know Choose Rich Nick? There was a post from Bill Ackman that gave dating advice of like how to talk or approach women. And he said to just say, may I meet you, which has gotten absolutely destroyed online. Just people are saying that's horrible advice. But Nick went out and tried just that.
Hi, excuse me. May I meet you?
What?
May I meet you?
Later.
Bill Ackman suggested that we have a crisis of men unwilling to approach women, and just suggested that I say, may I meet you? Okay, we'll meet later.
Yeah.
Bill Ackman really fell through with that advice.
I mean, to be fair, like I don't know if he paid that person, right? To be like, hey, I'm gonna walk on this, but like she literally says later. So is it really that bad of advice? I don't know. So I saw this on the timeline where somebody was talking about how they wanted to buy certain like NFTs. I feel like NFTs have really gotten like a spotlight on the timeline where everybody's like, you know what? I'm open to buying NFTs. And it's like, okay, where the hell is like this 182? But people were given different thoughts of like, hey, what are you going to buy, this one or that? And somebody suggested Super Yeti, which is one of the earliest 3D collections. And somebody said the first, well, Neon saying that it was the first 3D collection ever. And apparently it's actually Cube's Cryptos, which I've never seen this in my life, 0.75. But apparently this is the collection that is the first 3D NFT that was existed, and it shows back in October of 2020 when it initially launched. So there's your history lesson of the day. And then Charles Hoskins from Cardano, I'm gonna leave you with the final message of the day.
Crypto is the opt-out. Crypto is the exit. Crypto is the solution. And so, yes, the markets go up and yes, the markets go down. But there's some directionality to that. The long term, we win. There's 550 million people in the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and there's going to be 1 billion by 2030. 1 billion. The majority of the world's stocks and bonds and equities will be in the cryptocurrency space by 2030. And all of y'all paper hands are just running around. Be like, oh no, the markets are falling, What do? What did I do? We all headed for 10 trillion, guys, because trillion doesn't even mean anything anymore. The dollar doesn't mean anything anymore. Everything ought to be priced in crypto. Crypto.
So there's your very, very forward thinking, arguably aggressive perspective on where Charles Hoskins thinks the industry is going. Obviously, we'll be covering that and much more. Thank you guys for coming through. That's going to do it for this edition of XFeed. But Roar, What Now Customs, and Peckham, thank you guys for coming through. It's going up forever, Laura. I still have no idea what that reference is, and I need to look it up. But I appreciate you guys coming on through, and I'll see you tomorrow. Again, if you're wanting more content, we do the RWA SegMints Podcast, which the link is down in the YouTube description below or in my bio on X. And if you're just wanting to, have more content similar to this, go back to the YouTube or on my X feed and scroll, and you'll find all of the other things. You go back for like 2+ years on the live stream feed and see all of that craziness. All right, goodbye forever.